and swap out into Toxicroak. Opponent brings in the Slurpuff, and this is what I'm talking about right here. Opponent bringing the Charmer into the Poison Jab Toxicroak. You love to see it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Alex Gundy, thank you for the support. In today's video, we are taking a look at some Ultra League content, shoutcasting some battles submitted to the channel by MrLunkerChaser in the Ultra Premier Cup. Now, the thing that really stood out to me when going over this submission was not only the fact that this person is running Toxicroak, but they are running Toxicroak with Poison Jab as the fast move. So Poison Jab was one of the moves that received a buff earlier in the season, and it actually is a pretty interesting moveset to run on Toxicroak. It is going to give some play against a lot of the fairy types, also giving the potential to catch a lot of opponents off guard, accidentally switching into a Pokemon that doesn't do very well against Poison Jab. So we'll see how that plays out in this video. Of course, you are going to be giving up matchups against Stunfisk, Lapras. They're going to be a bit more difficult. So for that reason, it is worth considering running Dynamic Punch as one of the charge moves to make up for the lack of fighting coverage by giving up Counter as a fast move. Joining Toxicroak on this team is going to be a pretty expensive combo in the form of XL Politoed and XL Alolan Ninetales. Politoed isn't too expensive to get to the XL, however Alolan Ninetales does require getting close to level 50, so it is a very steep investment. However, both of these Pokemon are very spammy, very solid options, not only for the Premier Cup, but also for the Open Ultra League. So if you have the resources available to you, it is definitely worth the investment. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please make sure you smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Leave a comment in the comments section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And without any further ado, let's jump into the first battle right now. Alright, so let's jump into these battles right here. MrLunkerChaser will be leading Alolan Ninetales with Toxicroak and Politoed in the back. Very excited to see how this Toxicroak performs. Running Poison Jab as the fast move. We see a Jellicent here in the first matchup. This is a pretty horrible lead for Alolan Ninetales. Opponent is running Bubble, and usually when they run Bubble, I assume they're running Ice Beam and Shadow Ball, but we're going to find out here. Going for the Dazzling Gleam right away, does get a shield from the Jellicent, and going to let the first move go through. It is a Shadow Ball, and probably going to get to the next Dazzling Gleam. No, the opponent's going to throw, so Ninetales decides to shield here. It's an interesting shield, but it kind of makes sense because both of the back Pokemon don't really have a great matchup here. So you do want to do some chip damage to the Jellicent before coming in with the next Pokemon. So I understand why shielding there makes a lot of sense. And the opponent throws here, which is great. Going to take out the Ninetales. Now Toxicroak comes in and it's going to farm down. The one disadvantage to farming down with the Toxicroak here is that you give away the move set, but the opponent comes in with an Alolan Ninetales anyways. Gonna throw the Dynamic Punch right here, does get the shield, and you can see that these Poison Jabs are absolutely chunking away at the Alolan Ninetales here. Toxicroak is going to shield up and calls the Dazzling Gleam. That is huge. Definitely going to affect this matchup right here because they did not get baited. Dynamic Punch knocks out the Ninetales. Stunfisk in the back. Here comes the Politoed, and this was just perfect alignment. Oddly enough, the opponent got to avoid, or rather we got to avoid the Toxicroak with Poison Jab onto their Stunfisk, so that is very fortunate right here. Earthquake comes through, not enough to take out the Politoed. Weather Ball going to be enough to take out the Stunfisk here, and a very solid performance in match number 1 of this video, coming back from a very difficult lead in the form of Jellicent. Let's hop into the second battle, and we have Alolan Ninetales into a Skarmory. So this is an interesting matchup because, of course, you would think that Skarmory does pretty well here against Ninetales, but Ninetales could actually win this quite comfortably in the 2 shields. So let's see how this plays out here. Going to be spamming these Weather Balls, of course, and that is when running Powder Snow, of course, if you're running Charm. I would assume Skarmory has a better matchup against the Charm, but then again, Charm does a lot of damage regardless of if it's resisted or not, so who knows. But in this particular matchup, I do know that with Powder Snow, it is a winnable matchup for the Alolan Ninetales. So going forward, the Weather Ball right here, Skarmory lets that go down, takes that matchup in the 0 shields. And now Machamp comes in, probably see a shield here from the opponent and then a complete farm down with counter. So Machamp will be loaded on energy here, and going to come in with Toxicroak. Toxicroak has a very solid matchup against Machamp here. Resists pretty much all of its charge moves, so Cross Chop comes through and they swap out into Gengar, and Politoed with the shield advantage is in a very solid position right here against the Gengar, going for the Weather Ball that's going to do a lot of damage, and the Gengar saving its shield, going to throw a move right here, calls the Shadow Ball, that is a huge shield right there, and going to build up. Actually, I think they'll shield here and probably commit to the Mud Shot farm down here, which will give them close to 3 Weather Balls to throw at this Machamp. So the first one coming through will have to survive this move right here, which they should be able to do. Probably only a Cross Chop, and should be able to get off the Weather Balls right here. First one's going to get the shield. Second one, oh, they have enough for an Earthquake actually, so 100 energy right here. Earthquake, bang, there it is. Machamp gets taken out, and another big win right there with the Toxicroak team. Let's hop into the next matchup. Saraton. In the next match, we got Alolan Ninetales lead into a Shadow Hypno, so pretty good matchup for Alolan Ninetales, even if the Hypno is running Fire Punch and going to just be spamming these Weather Balls. You could see that Weather Ball, one of the most spammy moves in the game for sure, and when you pair it up with a move like Powder Snow or Mud Shot, it almost seems as if it's broken because it's so quick. I know that as somebody who's often on the receiving end of it, I'm often left wondering how could they get to it so fast, but that's just how the move is, extremely quick in nature. Now the opponent threw Thunder Punch the first time and they throw Fire Punch the second time, so maybe a little bit of mind games right there, trying to not get the Ninetales to shield. The Fire Punch doesn't KO, so it doesn't really matter anyways. The Machamp comes in and the Toxicroak's gonna get off this Mud Bomb right here. This may get a shield from the Machamp, which it does, and they're gonna throw a move. Once again, don't have to shield anything from the Machamp on Toxicroak. Rock Slide, Payback, Cross Chop, nothing really threatens Toxicroak right here, but is going to shield the second one. And let's see if the opponent stays in. No, they swap out into Togekiss, and the Toxicroak is going to farm up a little bit and end up throwing the Mud Bomb here. I would have probably just swapped out into the Politoed, I think, maybe save that Mud Bomb for the end game, but we'll see how this plays out, whether or not that extra damage from the Mud Bomb is necessary to win this match. Aerial Ace comes through. I don't think it is, because 2 Weather Balls is going to be overkill here on the Togekiss, and then having that Mud Bomb ready for the Machamp might have been necessary to win this, but we'll see how this plays out. Is the Politoed at 2 Weather Balls right here, takes out the Togekiss, and they are at the 3rd Weather Ball. Very well played right there by MrLunkerChaser, taking out the Machamp right there. Got a little bit risky towards the end, but was able to get to that final Weather Ball. Let's hop into the next battle right here. We have a Alolan Ninetales into a Togekiss, a absolutely beautiful lead right here. And you can see the opponent deciding to stay in actually. And they're going to catch the move onto the Umbreon, but look at this. They actually did not catch, tried to catch the Weather Ball, but the Dazzling Gleam coming through, Ninetales waiting it out and getting off the correct move. Umbreon going to throw a move here, not really going to do anything. And when you're switching Umbreon into Alolan Ninetales, you must really not have an answer for this Alolan Ninetales, so this may be a Ninetales sweep right here. Let's see what they come back in with. And it's actually the Togekiss again, so Togekiss probably going to go for the farm down here. I assume they have to shield at this point, which they do. Commit to the farm down with Charm and come in with the Toxicroak. And the opponent's probably thinking, how could you ever come in with Toxicroak right here? But look at that. Poison Jab going to work on the Togekiss. Opponent doesn't want the smoke. Swaps out into the Skarmory. And here comes the super spammy Mr. Politoed going to go to work here. Skarmory looks like this is only a Sky Attack. Doesn't look like they built up to a Brave Bird. Sky Attack comes through. And Politoed going to build up for 2 Weather Balls here. Probably going to have to shield at this point. Yes, they are. Shield up the Sky Attack. Over farm close to 100 energy here. Throw 2 Weather Balls. And let's see if the opponent's going to shield. They're getting a couple of extra air slashes here, which is not good. Does get the shield right here. Opponent swaps out into Togekiss. Going to knock it out here with the Weather Ball. And I believe the Toxicroak has the move ready. Yes, they do. Here comes the Dynamic Punch. Is this enough to take out the Skarmory? Yes, it is. Big damage right there from the Toxicroak, winning that game. Very well played. Let's hop to the next battle. We got Spook'em-Chucher. I think that was the name. Shadow Machamp into Alolan Ninetales, and this seems like it would be a pretty solid lead. However, because these moves are doing neutral damage. It's actually a losing matchup for Ninetales here. So the opponent swaps out, catches onto the Lapras. That is an excellent catch right there. And we see Toxicroak come in. Now Toxicroak, of course, not running counter. This is going to be a much more difficult matchup. However, there is Dynamic Punch. Will the opponent expect a Dynamic Punch? No, they don't. Takes that out right there. And the Toxicroak maintains the switch advantage, which is pretty important in this particular matchup. We see Kingdra come in. Definitely want to come in with the Alolan Ninetales here. This is a very positive matchup. Going to go for the Weather Wall right here. And the opponent swaps out into Machamp. Going to shield up right here. And swap out into the Politoed. So Politoed here, of course, because it is so spammy, is going to benefit us even though they are down shields, because you're going to be able to get them back right here. Letting this move go through, this should not be enough to KO. However, that is going to put the Politoed in farm down range, which isn't optimal. However, Alolan Ninetales should be able to take this game. Can they get to the Weather Ball? Yes, they can, but this is not enough to take out the Machamp. Barely survives, able to farm down, and going to apply a lot of pressure here to the Ninetales, leaving the matchup with that energy. Very good play by the opponent, because now they will win CMP against Ninetales, and the opponent got the attack drop with the Octazooka here. That could flip this game. Can the Ninetales farm down right here? No, it can't. That's going to get the final shield, and getting this final shield means the game is over, because now they're going to lose CMP tie, no longer have that shield, which means that Machamp is going to take this game. Heartbreaking loss right there. Definitely a result of the Octazooka debuff, but that happens. So is life in the Go Battle League. You just have to move on to the next matchup. And as you see right here, things are looking bright again with a Dragonite lead. Swap out into Empoleon, and here comes the Politoed. So Politoed, pretty solid matchup here against the Empoleon. They might not even shield this, to be honest. No, they don't. Earthquake comes through. Venusaur comes in. So they could have came in here with Dragonite, to be honest, knowing that there is really no threat from the Politoed. With showing Earthquake pretty much means that there is no Blizzard on that Politoed. So you could have came in with the Dragonite, probably farm down and not have to have shown what your third Pokemon is. But of course, Venusaur also has a very good matchup against the Politoed. So both options could make sense right there. We see the Toxicroak come in here. Opponent swaps out into Dragonite. Here comes Ninetales. Just very unfortunate alignment for the opponent, and they are going to lose this game no matter what. You see Dragon Claw not even tickling the Ninetales right there. This is Wall City right here. This is like the Great Wall of China right here. It is the definition of a wall, and this one is not getting taken down. Venusaur comes in, and Ninetales pretty much destroys Dragonite and Venusaur here. So pretty tough matchup for the opponent. Ninetales is going to take that with a shield in hand, and that is a very dominant victory right there. VapoRub 777, big shout out to the VapoRub, keeping us nice and warm when we're sick. Obstagoon into Alolan Ninetales right here, and great matchup for Ninetales, of course. Let's see if the opponent's going to stay in here. Looks like they are. They're going to throw a move. Definitely can't be a gunk shot at this point, so let's go through. It's a cross chop, and going to go straight for the Dazzling Gleam. So going for the nuke immediately. Are they going to shield? Yes, they do. And at this point, you have a decision to make. Letting it go through means that you're probably going to lose switch here if you stay in this match. Going for the Weather Ball here. I don't expect the shield here. No shield yet. Didn't build up for the Dazzling Gleam, which means there is no shield. And they are going to shield this up here and swap out into Toxicroak. Opponent brings in the Slurpuff, and this is what I'm talking about right here. Opponent bringing the Charmer into the Poison Jab Toxicroak. You love to see it. Mud Bomb coming through. Toxicroak gonna take out the Charmer right there. Here comes a Dynamic Punch. No shield from the opponent, and they're going to farm down. But we got an answer for that Talonflame in the back, and it's called Mr. Frog. Mr. Politoed right here. And I actually just realized that this entire team is shiny. I didn't take that in until now. We got a shiny Politoed, we got a shiny Toxicroak, and a shiny Alolan Ninetales. And the opponent backs out. So you know what that means. They don't want the smoke. Let's hop into the next one. You know, now that I think about it, these are probably three of the nicest looking shinies in the game as well. Ninetales, I love that purple tint. Toxicroak is beautiful. And Politoed, look at the Politoed, blue and pink. That is incredible. Another Empoleon right here. This time the opponent gets the move off first which honestly isn't too bad because it means less farm for the Dragonite potentially. So here comes the Earthquake, taking out the Empoleon right there. Dragonite coming back in. It's going to have to eat a couple of Weather Balls, but don't really expect the Dragonite to shield anything at this point. Has a horrible matchup against the Alolan Ninetales anyways. Things are not looking too good for the opponent here, but the opponent is able to farm down there, swaps out into Talonflame, and here comes the Toxicroak. So pretty bad matchup for Talonflame. The thing about Talonflame is that I mean, in this particular matchup, you could just go straight Flame Charge anyways because Toxicroak is so glassy. Lets that go through as well, but able to get to this Mud Bomb. Is the opponent going to shield this up? Yes, they do. And now the Ninetales comes back in. It just has way too much health at this point. I don't think that this Talonflame could win the game here. Needs to get off a bunch of Flame Charges and Incinerates. Needs about another Flame Charge to get this Incinerate. Swaps out the Dragonite. This game is over. This is not going to do anything, even if it's an outrage Dragon Claw. Not even tickling. Opponent backs out. So Ninetales putting in the work right there, coming through clutch like Paul George in the playoffs. Mr. Paul George, arguably the most clutch player in the NBA. We got an Alolan Ninetales mirror match right here, but the opponent is running Charm, so that is very unfortunate for MrLunkerChaser. Going for the Dazzling that lands, that's huge, swaps out into Toxicroak, and the opponent stayed in for a little bit before realizing, what the heck, this is Poison Jab, and then they swap out into the Talonflame. Lands a Dynamic Punch right there. Talonflame going to go for the Flame Charge. Toxicroak is going to shield because the opponent, or rather Mr. Lunker, thinks he can get to the Dynamic Punch, but going for the bait instead, gets the shield from the Talonflame, and the Talonflame's also going to throw energy here, which will knock out the Toxicroak, come in with the Politoed, and of course you can't really farm down here with Mud Shots, so going straight for the Weather Ball. Opponent is going to shield that up, and there is a CMP tie. Very unfortunate for MrLunkerChaser. Does shield up the Brave Bird. Of course, that has to be a Brave Bird in that scenario. Even if you're undercharge, it's going to KO at that range. Obstagoon comes in here, and this is not a good matchup to be in. Alolan Ninetales swapping in. Catches the Night Slash, that's very nice. Here comes the Ninetales from the opponent. Should be only a Weather Ball. It's actually a Side Shock, that's not good. Can they farm down? Simultaneous KO. Politoed coming in. So Obstagoon versus Politoed, going for the Earthquake right here. That's going to do significant damage, and at this point it really comes down to who is going to outpace who to the Chargers. Night Slash coming through, probably within 2 Weather Ball range right now, so can they get to the next Weather Ball before the Night Slash? Look at that, we get some lag, you love to see it. End game lag coming through clutch, unlike Ben Simmons in the 4th quarter, lands the Weather Ball. And you know what they say, when that lag hit, it is time to quit your sets. End the day. 4-1 right there. Very solid performance. So those were the battles featuring Poison Jab Toxicroak in the Ultra Premier. This team also consists of 2 XL Pokemon in the form of Alolan Ninetales and Politoed, a very expensive team. But as you can see, Poison Jab Toxicroak, the main highlight of this video, surprising a lot of opponents with that Poison Jab and catching some fairies off guard. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.